4, we're looking at canned chili. Canned chili looks innocent. Beans, meat, spices, a ready-made dinner in minutes. But here's the uncomfortable truth. This is one of the riskiest cans on the shelf. Why? Because chili lives in the low-acid zone of canning science. That means it demands extreme sterilization, 240 to 250 degrees Fahrenheit under pressure, to keep Clostridium botulinum from waking up inside. When it's done right, safe meal. When it's done wrong, you've got a botulism trap. The worst part, you'll never smell it coming. That's not a hypothetical. In 2007, a commercial chili sauce plant underprocessed its batches. The result? A nationwide recall, hospitalizations, and some of the most infamous cases of foodborne botulism in recent history. The CDC called it out plain as day. Insufficient thermal processing let spores survive, and toxin formed inside sealed cans. A few unlucky people paid the price. And here's where it gets nastier for older shoppers. Botulism isn't the only red flag. The chili aisle is a minefield of salt bombs, potassium swaps, phosphate additives, and BPA-laced linings. Each one alone is sketchy. Stack them together, and you've basically got a chemistry experiment pretending to be dinner. Start with sodium. A single cup of canned chili with beans hovers around 1,000 milligrams of salt. Eat the whole can, which plenty of people do, and you're swallowing nearly half your daily allowance in one go. The American Heart Association says 1,500 milligrams a day is the safer cap for adults with blood pressure concerns. Do the math. One hearty bowl of chili and you've already blown past the halfway mark before you even grab a soda or slice of bread. Now flip that reduced sodium can, and you'll often see something worse. Potassium chloride, now disguised under the friendlier name potassium salt. For a healthy 25-year-old, fine. For someone over 50 on ACE inhibitors, ARBs, or potassium-sparing diuretics, that hidden swap can push blood potassium to dangerous levels. Hyperkalemia isn't just a lab result. It can trigger irregular heart rhythms without warning. Then come the phosphates. Ever wonder why the meat in canned chili stays so uniform and springy? Sodium phosphate. It locks in texture and water, but it also delivers highly absorbable phosphorus, exactly the kind nephrologists warn older adults to cut back on. Over time, that extra phosphorus stresses kidneys, stiffens arteries, and weakens bones. It's one of those slow-motion risks you don't feel until it's already done damage. And we haven't even touched the can itself. Most brands use epoxy linings historically made with BPA. The FDA still claims current exposure is safe. But Europe's Food Safety Authority recently slashed the safe limit to practically zero and voted to ban BPA in food packaging altogether. Here's the kicker. BPA-free doesn't always mean safe. It often means swapped with other bisphenols that act a lot like BPA. Same song, different verse. So here's the real picture. Canned chili isn't just chili. It's a cocktail of sodium overload, hidden potassium swaps, phosphate additives, and chemical linings, wrapped around a low-acid stew that can become lethal if the factory cut corners. One can, one shortcut, and suddenly that hearty dinner looks like a gamble stacked against your heart, your kidneys, and your nerves. Sweet isn't always safe, and nowhere is that clearer than a can of fruit swimming in syrup. At number 3, sweet but surprisingly risky, canned peaches take the spotlight. The shine of those peaches or pears looks wholesome, almost nostalgic. But the second your spoon hits that syrup, you're not eating fruit anymore. You're eating dessert in disguise. 1 cup of fruit cocktail in heavy syrup clocks in at over 40 grams of sugar. That's 11 teaspoons dumped straight into your bloodstream before dinner even begins. Light syrup? Don't be fooled. It's still sugar water, just a slightly thinner version. The USDA literally defines light by sugar concentration, not health. For anyone over 45, that kind of hit lands differently. Blood sugar swings aren't just uncomfortable, they mess with meds, magnify blood pressure problems, and chip away at heart health. A JAMA study showed adults getting 17 to 21% of calories from added sugar had nearly 40% higher risk of death from heart disease. Bump sugar higher and the risk nearly tripled. Fruit syrup might seem harmless, but it's all part of that tally. And it's not just about diabetes. Statins, blood pressure meds, acid reducers, they all meet their match when daily sugar quietly piles up. A can here, a light dessert there, and suddenly your blood work is doing the talking. Mini hook. And just when you think syrup is the whole problem, the can itself adds another twist. Most of these tins are lined with epoxy that once relied heavily on bisphenol A, BPA. The FDA still says current levels are safe. Europe doesn't agree. In 2023, their Food Safety Authority slashed the tolerable intake to near zero, and by 2024, banned BPA outright in food packaging. The US hasn't followed, but independent tests still pick up bisphenols, even in cans labeled BPA FDA-free. That cherry red cocktail you thought was wholesome? It's been sitting in a chemical bath you never signed up for. And speaking of cherries, that neon red one bobbing in your fruit cup? For decades, it carried FD&C Red number 3, a dye the FDA just banned in foods by 2027 after animal studies linked it to cancer. Some brands already switched, others haven't. That little cherry is a warning light hiding in plain sight. Now add the recalls. Just this year, canned pears were pulled after California regulators found unsafe levels of lead and cadmium. Last year, it was glass shards. These aren't everyday events, but they're proof canned fruit isn't as drama-free as it looks. So what's the move? Drain it, rinse it. Better yet, skip syrup altogether. Buy fruit in water or its own juice, or head to the frozen aisle for the real win. No syrup, no can lining, just fruit. Pair a half cup with protein like yogurt or nuts, and you've got the sweetness without the sugar spike. Because canned fruit and syrup isn't just fruit, it's a sugar bomb wrapped in a metal question mark, sold as nostalgia, but paid for in risk. If this surprised you, hit the like button so more people find out, and subscribe so you won't miss the next hidden danger in your pantry. Now imagine opening a can that's supposed to be all strength and vitality, only to find something that looks and smells like it's already given up. Coming in at number 2, the leafy green you thought was safe, spinach. The truth about canned spinach is less Popeye, more problem child. Crack the lid, and what spills out isn't leafy greens. It's a soggy lump swimming in brine that reeks more like tin than earth. And inside that clump, risks that stack up fast once you're past 45. First hit, heavy metals. Spinach is notorious for sucking cadmium out of soil like a sponge. That metal doesn't cook off, and canning doesn't wash it away. It stays. Over decades, cadmium builds in your kidneys and bones. Europe actually set strict weekly limits to protect kidney function, and the World Health Organization went further with monthly caps. The point? Even small numbers matter when your body holds onto them for 15 years at a time. Here's where it gets stranger. The can itself isn't a neutral bystander. Most cans are coated inside with epoxy. For decades, that meant BPA. The FDA says safe at current levels, but Europe went the other direction and banned BPA outright in food packaging. Many companies now brag BPA-free, but don't celebrate too fast. It often just means BPS or BPF, chemical cousins with baggage of their own. And then there's the salt. 1 cup of regular canned spinach can hammer you with over 700 milligrams of sodium. That's nearly a third of your entire day's budget gone in a few forkfuls. Even the no salt added cans can sneak in 200 milligrams just from natural sodium and processing. Think about that the next time your blood pressure cuff squeals at you. Worse, reduced sodium sometimes means they swapped the salt for potassium chloride. Great if your heart's fine, but if you've got kidney disease or take certain blood pressure meds, that extra potassium can be the hidden danger nobody warned you about. And don't forget what spinach naturally carries, oxalates. Those are the little crystals that can trigger kidney stones. Clinics keep spinach on the very high oxalate list, and even canned versions don't drop low enough to be called safe for stone formers. Add in its sky-high vitamin K, and anyone on warfarin suddenly has a juggling act. Not too much, not too little, just exactly the same amount every week. Here's the kicker. Even if the spinach itself were perfect, the packaging can still betray you. Low-acid foods like spinach are the classic zone for botulism if processing fails, and you'll never smell it, never taste it. The CDC's line is clear. If a can is bulging, leaking, spurting, or dented deep at the seam, don't open it. Toss it. A taste test isn't brave. It's Russian roulette. So while spinach should be a superfood, the canned version piles on cadmium, salt, oxalates, vitamin K landmines, and a container you can't fully trust. Frozen gives you the speed without the sludge. And honestly, one look at that limp, gray-green clump, and you'll know this isn't strength in a can. It's a compromise in disguise. And if that left a bad taste, wait until you hear about the comfort food in a can that plays dress up as dinner. And finally, taking the number 1 spot, canned pasta, the biggest hidden danger of them all. Canned pasta has that deceptive charm. Pop the lid, and you're greeted with the smell of tomato, meat, and something vaguely sweet. It's childhood in a bowl. But under the nostalgia, it's an ultra-processed trap. Sodium, sugar, chemicals, and packaging that quietly add stress to aging bodies. Here's the catch. It isn't just noodles and sauce. It's a factory formula built to survive years on a shelf